On today's video, come with me for a relaxing stroll around one of my favourite cities in the UK, Brighton and Hove. We'll meet some friendly locals, see the sights, and most importantly, we'll spend very little money. Let's do Brighton on a budget. Welcome to Brighton! Brighton on the south coast on the English Channel is one of the UK's most popular seaside resorts. I'm here in February, so between us the weather is really bad. But I'm going to show you what I like to do here because Brighton holds a special place in my heart. I nearly lived here once, didn't happen. So I've got not much time here because yesterday when I was supposed to be doing all my filming, the weather was so bad there was no chance. So I'm gonna take a couple of hours, have a little look around. It's gonna be quite windy, so I'm sorry about that. I'll try and edit out what I can, and I'll just show you around this town that I absolutely love. Maybe if you come here in the future, it might give you some ideas what to do, or maybe you just want to nose around with me, like, I don't know. But welcome to Lucy's Lens, weekly videos of me, whoa, it's windy, just going about doing what I fancy. And today, we're in Brighton, so let's go. I'm starting my day here at Regency Square. This was one of the original Georgian squares built in Brighton, and I've been staying in a hotel right here. I'll be doing a video about that in an upcoming episode. We're going to start here down at the bottom of Regency Square, and we're going to walk along the seafront all the way from West Pier to Grand Pier, and then we're going to go and look at the Pavilion, the lanes, and explore all the best bits in Brighton in a couple of hours. There's so much to do on Brighton seafront. You could spend days here and not see everything. This is the Upside Down House. That's a place where you can go and take photos of you looking like you're upside down. Apparently it can give you a bit of vertigo though. Not for me, but I'm sure it's great fun. This here is West Pier. This was one of 3 piers in Brighton. This one was closed to the public in 1975 and sadly was left to ruin. And then in 2003, there was a fire that finished it off really. So it's now just a metal structure, but it's quite an iconic view in the city of Brighton and Hove. Here on the left-hand side, you can see the Grand Hotel. The Grand Hotel was one of the original hotels in Brighton, and in the 1800s was the only place outside London to have a lift or an elevator inside. In 1984, it was also the scene of an IRA bombing where there was an attempt to take out the British government. There's loads of Victorian features as you walk down the seafront. You can enjoy the original ironwork. It's just a really cool place. It doesn't matter what the weather's like here, there's always people enjoying the seafront, playing sports, walking their dogs. It's a really cosmopolitan and welcoming city, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love about Brighton. You'll also find lots of cafes and restaurants and even nightclubs as you walk along the front. It's really accessible, as you can see, it's a nice accessible path. The beach in Brighton is pebbles, which can be quite difficult to walk on, but along the back of the promenade there's these lovely surfaces that you can walk on without battling with your ankles on the pebbles. I always find pebbles really difficult to walk on. My ankles just always feel like they're going to go on me. But it's fun for the kids, and of course if you love skimming stones, Brighton Beach is absolutely perfect for that. The sea that we're looking at here is the English Channel, and on a clear day on the end of the Grand Pier you can actually see the Isle of Wight. We weren't lucky enough today. On the seafront, you'll also find Brighton Fishing Museum. This is a lovely little museum and it's completely free to enter, and it celebrates when Brighton was a fishing port. You can spend a good hour or 2 here if you're interested in fishing, and I love that it's free to enter. I also met some really friendly locals here. I absolutely love it when dogs approach me. I will just stroke all the dogs. Oh, and I forgot, because I'm talking about dogs, there's also a smokehouse here where you can try fresh crab and smoked meat that's been locally smoked in Brighton. Hello. I was so lucky because the weather started to clear. I wasn't expecting it. That's one of the things when you're on the coast in the UK, the weather can change in minutes. So it went from being really gloomy to lovely bright sunshine in about 5 minutes. I could not believe my luck. On the seafront, you can also find some traditional seafood sellers where you can buy traditional things such as whelks and cockles in a little polystyrene tub with some vinegar. It's a very traditional thing to do. Not for me, because I have a massive seafood allergy. So unfortunately, it's not something I'm ever going to be able to try. But I believe people love it and it's very enjoyable. These arches run all the way from Hove down to the Grand Pier and are big enough to store big fishing boats. They're now used mostly as shops and cafes, and you can find some really nice local independent artists working from out of these arches. Make sure you pop in for a look. We've actually got quite a few pieces of artwork from these studios. I love local art, and there's some of the best, I think, in the UK you can find in Brighton. So have a little mooch around. Everyone's really friendly. You can also see some original beach cafes on the seafront too. I absolutely love these. They really throw back to a bygone era to me. And of course, they're a really convenient place to stop for a cup of tea or a refreshment on your walk. And this one is right up by the Brighton Grand Pier. We're now going to head onto the pier and I'm going to give you a little tour and maybe some facts. Who knows? But here we are at the Brighton Palace Pier. This is the only pier remaining in Brighton now, but it receives up to 4 million visitors per year. It continues to be a really, it's just amazing how many people love to come here, and I can see why, because I think it's the best pier in the UK. It's open all year round and admission is free, so you can walk onto the pier without paying a penny. On the boardwalk, there's lots of traditional attractions, so there's places to get confectionery and donuts and milkshakes. A lot of it was closed today because, like I say, this was February, so we're still a little bit out of season. But in the summer, this place is absolutely buzzing with people and activity. One of the nicest things about Brighton Pier is they still offer free deck chairs. So in the summer, you can have a deck chair and you can sit on it for free. You don't have to pay any rent or anything like that. It's a really lovely experience and feels like being on a big boat in the ocean. There's also a lot of friends on Brighton Pier. The seagulls here are notorious, but I love them. I can't help but love them, even though they're really annoying and noisy. I just think they're really funny characters. There's loads of stalls with seaside confectionery, all the stuff that when I was a kid my parents used to say no to, but now I'm an adult I can buy it and enjoy it. I didn't buy anything today though, like I say, we're on a budget. So we're now going to enter the main building of Brighton Palace Pier. The pier is 1,722 feet long and contains 85 miles of planking. It's absolutely huge. Repainting it takes 3 months every year apparently, and at night it's illuminated by 67,000 bulbs. The pier has also been used for loads of famous films and dramas, including of course Brighton Rock, Quadrophenia. We'll talk a little bit more about Quadrophenia later. And also, this one's just brilliant. Carry On at Your Convenience. Some of it was filmed at Brighton Pier. I absolutely love that. There used to be a theatre here, and some really famous movie stars have also appeared at Brighton Pier, including Stan Laurel and Charlie Chaplin. Both appeared on Brighton Pier before they made their way over to the USA to become rich and famous. But there's a real deep history to this pier, and you can feel it as you walk along. Inside this building, there's a lot of amusements. Amusements and piers go together like peas and carrots. The 2p slot machines in particular are really popular in piers in the UK, and people play for tickets, and you get a bunch of tickets and then you can get a prize at the end. But trust me, you have to have a lot of tickets to get a decent prize. In fact, you must let me know in the comments if anyone has ever won a decent prize on a pier, because I would be really interested. I just always tend to come out with a lollipop or some Haribos, nothing much. But I'm here today for a walk, so I'm not going to be playing on the amusements, but I do love them. Coming out of the amusements, you get another beautiful view of the English Channel and another selection of shops selling donuts and churros and milkshakes. It's not too busy today, and I really love it when it's like this. In the middle of the pier is Palm Court. This is a restaurant where you can get pub grub. I think they do some fancy stuff as well, like mussels, maules mariniere, I'm not sure. But there's the menu there, but it looked like pub grub to me, and pretty reasonably priced actually for a tourist attraction. I stopped here for a cup of tea, just for a relax, and I think it was about £2. And I must admit, the staff in here were really, really lovely. Obviously, when you're travelling on your own, it's really difficult to kind of find a seat, get a drink. They brought it out to me, really, really friendly, and I appreciated that. Right at the end of the pier is a fun fair. This has been here since 1986, when they demolished the old theatre and took the emphasis away from entertainment to more of a kind of theme park fun fair. There's so many videos on YouTube about the fair here, so I'm not going to go into it in massive detail, but I do love to see a set of gallopers on the end of the pier. The fair is not free. If you wanted to go on any of the rides, you have to buy tokens or a wristband. I'm afraid I didn't catch the price, but we're on a bargain day today, so it's out of the question regardless. From this part of the pier, you can also see some absolutely beautiful views across the English Channel towards the whole city of Brighton and Hove. On a clear day, you can even see the Isle of Wight from here. The Isle of Wight is somewhere that I would love to visit on this channel. That big tall building, that's the British Airways 360, which takes you right up into the air to get a panoramic view over the city. It's quite expensive, and on a gloomy day, I really don't think you'd see much, so it didn't really seem worth it for me. Don't know about you, but I love looking down on the pier to the sea. Just really enjoy it. Feels a bit dangerous, I don't know. But now we're going to head back down the pier, and as you're walking down, you'll see there's a heritage trail. So if you're interested in the history of the pier, there's lots of information about the history, pictures of what it looked like in the past. It's a really historical place. I absolutely love this. I love these photo opportunities. I don't think you can get more British than this. This view here is looking out towards Kemp Town, which is another really fabulous part of Brighton. So now from the pier, we are going to head to the Pavilion. This is one of the most important buildings in Brighton, and I think one of the most important buildings in the UK actually. It's just mind-blowing that this Indian-looking palace is in the middle of Brighton. It was built by the Prince of Wales, who became George IV, because he wanted a pleasure palace of entertainment for him and his courtiers, and also a giant stable. So a lot of this building was actually built for horses, very extravagant horses, as you can see. You do need to pay to go inside the museum and the pavilion. I believe it's about £18 per person, but the gardens outside are completely free to stroll about, so that's what I did. I was going to go in the museum, and then I thought, no, we are on a budget, we are not spending much money today, so I just had a little peep inside. Like I say, the gardens are free to stroll about and get more and more beautiful as the year goes on and the trees and nature come back to life. But this is just such an incredible building. Whenever you're here, you can't believe you're in the UK. It's absolutely incredible, and apparently inside it's absolutely mind-blowing. I've never actually been in, so you'll have to let me know what it's like inside if you have, and if it's worth the entry fee, so people come into this video can see, is it worth paying to enter to get into this museum? I believe if you live in Brighton and Hove, you can enter for free, which is really nice. But if you're coming from outside the area, there is an entry fee. I believe it's quite pricey. So yeah, let me know if you've been in and if it's worth it. As a bit of a history geek, I know I would absolutely love it in there. I find George IV a fascinating character, so I think I probably would have enjoyed it. But I'm just going to show you the outside today. It's completely mind-blowing. You think you should be in Dakar or something. It's just amazing how this was put here. Look out for the big round dome. That was actually part of George IV's stables and became the Brighton Dome, where they now hold concerts. And it's actually where ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest in 1974. So that's a cool little fact for you about the pavilion. There's the dome. Of course, there's a gift shop, and even if you don't pay to go in the museum, you can go and have a little look around the gift shop. I always think it gives you an idea of what you'll see inside, so you can see that it's very extravagantly decorated in the style of George IV and his preferences. I love a look round the gift shop. Anyone else? I always think they smell really nice. Not sure what that's all about, but I do love a little look around a gift shop. And of course, you can pick yourself up a little souvenir of the day if that's what you're here for. I also found this lovely, lovely tea room cafe attached onto the pavilion. It's quite reasonably priced, so I decided to treat myself to a little latte sat outside. What a view. Absolutely fantastic. If you're still here, can I bother you for a cheeky little like or subscribe to these videos? It really, really does help me, especially as a new channel. Trying my best. Thank you so much. So now we are in the lanes. The lanes are a warren of alleyways and independent shops and restaurants, a really famous part of Brighton. There's a really nice restaurant here that I love called Donatello's. It's an Italian restaurant. They always have meal deals on and stuff, and the food is actually quite nice. I didn't go today, but that's my little tip for if you want to eat when you're in the lanes. Lots of little alleyways to wind themselves down. I found this one here, but there's one alleyway in particular that I am interested in seeing at this point. And here it is, Quadrophenia Alley. This was a filming location in the film Quadrophenia. I'm not going to describe what happens up the alley. You can use your imagination, or maybe you already know. It's really popular. I don't understand why people graffiti all over it. Weird. But you can go right down Quadrophenia Alley and see where that iconic scene was shot. So that is in the lanes. Like I say, I'll do a little map at the end, so if you want to see any of these things, you can check them out yourself. Again, this is a public walkway. It's completely free. Wouldn't go down there overnight though. You never know what you're going to find, do you? So that's Quadrophenia Alley in the lanes. And then just up the road from this is a cute little cafe, the Hello Kitty Cafe. It's one of the only character cafes outside of Japan. It's run by Artbox, sweet little independent business. So I'm just going to pop in here for a look because I cannot resist the lure of a Japanese style character cafe. Have travelled in Japan quite a lot, and I'm absolutely gutted that I didn't start this YouTube channel before I was in Japan. But there you go, hindsight. Get yourself some little Hello Kitty Brighton souvenirs. It's really, really sweet. And then finally, check out North Laine. North Laine is another warren of independent shops and boutiques. It's got a really cool atmosphere here. It's very similar to Camden in London, I think, but a more relaxed, chilled Camden vibe. You can find some really nice cafes here, some really quirky places. Everyone's really friendly. I just love it here. This is probably my favourite part of Brighton, actually, North Laine. Just beware of a weekend, it gets incredibly busy, but it's the perfect place to sit with a drink and have a people watch. So that's how I like to spend my time in Brighton if I've only got a couple of hours and I'm on a budget. There's plenty of things you can do here to occupy yourself without a bunch of money, and I really appreciate that. Get yourself to the pier, go and have a walk on the seafront, look around the lanes, and you'll have a really, really lovely day. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's always so appreciated, and I will see you on the next one.